Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This one we are looking at round 7 of the FIA Nations Cup. A one make in the Fittapaldi EF7 Vision Gran Turismo car. Let's look at some of the details for the race. We have 2 times fuel consumption and 7 times tyre wear. Choice at racing heavyweight and intermediates, and no tyre requirement for this one. We'll take a quick look at the car choice for this race. Going on the screen there, got a nice gumball livery on it, very nice looking machine indeed. Okay, let's take a look at some action. So, looking at the one-stop run here, first thing we'll discuss as always, and since we have it on the screen, is the fuel. No fuel saving concerns here at all. The car's going to do the 15 laps without refueling, without too much of a problem. It will be pretty close come the end of the race, but no fuel saving required. One thing you do have to worry about though is getting this 600 horsepower beast round a very wet Tokyo expressway track. Very tricky car to get round, particularly coming up to this corner we are approaching here, the tight hairpin at the end of the lap. I absolutely detest this corner in most cars, but in a car with this amount of horsepower, trying to get the traction down is simply a nightmare. Do not too bad a job there, admittedly. So we're approaching the pit lane here. As I said, this is the one-stop run, and we're going to come in and put a new set of wet tyres on, and we'll see how much of a loss we're going to lose in the pit stop. There we go, new set of wet tyres, no need to refuel, and back out again. Now a very quick pit stop in terms of the in lap there, only 3.5 seconds slower than a normal lap, but much like the manufacturer's race last week at the same track in intermediate conditions, it's the long run from the pit exit down to this first corner here where you lose all the time. When it's all said and done, the pit loss is about 9 to 10 seconds for taking on a new set of tyres without any fuel. One thing to bear in mind when you come out the pits is that the tyres are cold, so you're not going to have a whole lot of grip for the first few corners on the track. Well, to be fair, you don't have a whole lot of grip for the entire race, but you're going to have even less grip than what you would expect to have anyway. Okay, we'll jump forward here to the end of the race. Apologies, we'll jump forward here to lap 10, and we're approaching this tight hairpin again. Braking just before, maybe about 170 metres, get the car turned down nice and tight. I try to take both apexes, keep as tight a line as possible, get the car straightened up, and then gingerly on the power until you've got it nice and straight on this section, and then you can floor it. But very easy to spin out at that corner, so it is. And as the tyres wear down, that's certainly where you start to struggle the most. The tyres are actually okay, even after a few laps, for most of the laps. As you see, we're doing purple sectors there, even on the last lap. This is lap 8 on these tyres. So, just a very tricky combination, as this is the wettest setting for the track. So as I've said at the beginning of the video, we have the choice between the racing weights and the intermediates. Discard the intermediates completely. They are no use and there is no requirement to use them. This is a full wet track only. Again, we get the power down, not too bad out the last corner there on this lap. As we approach the finish line to complete the one-stop run. And not a bad finishing lap there, a 2:04.1. As the time pops up, we'll get a little look at it. It's at 31 minutes and 25 seconds. So a long race, very long race, and a lot of concentration required. It's very easy to sort of slightly miss your braking point on this track, and that's going to cost you 3/4 tenths of a second just missing your braking point by a fraction. So a lot of concentration required to get the car round all 15 laps without any major mistakes. Okay, we're taking a look at the no stop run here. Very, very tricky as from about lap 9 onwards as the rear tyres go, but as you can see there, I've put traction control onto 2 for coming out the tight hairpin, and I think that significantly helped me get the power down out that last corner a lot better than without traction control. So as you can see again, we're on the last lap here of the no stop run. We've kept the lap times fairly consistent. We are now from about lap 12, we are struggling quite a lot, and we're into the 205s, whereas we were sort of in the low 204s from about lap 2 right through to lap 10. So again, traction control onto 2 just before the hairpin, get the power down, and as we come out, take it off, because traction control will slow you down as you go through the gears down the long straight. Now, I've just moved to the external view there just to give you an idea of how the rear tyres look come the end of the race on the non-stop. And across the finish line there, and this surprised me, I have to say. I didn't think the no-stop had a chance, but it's actually 4 seconds quicker than the one-stop. One thing I do believe though, I think I could probably get another 4 or 5 seconds off the one stop without a problem. I haven't actually tried it using the traction control trick that I showed you, and I do believe that sort of helped me gain a lot of lap time over the non-stop run coming out that hairpin. I do have a lot of trouble getting the power down of the car out of there, so I think if I was to do that on the one stop run, I could get another 4 or 5 seconds off my finishing time. Now, confession, that run there you've seen doing the no stop, that was my third attempt at doing it, because frankly the last 4 laps are a total nightmare, and trying not to spin the car over those last 4 laps is extremely difficult. So we're just looking at some replay footage here. We'll go through some of the bullet points on the screen, where some of them we've actually already mentioned. So the pit loss for tyres and no fuel was about 10 seconds. The one stop is definitely the safe option, taking on the fresh tyres. You're not going to have the back end stepping out or anywhere near as much. The no stop may be quicker, but very risky. Those last 3-4 laps, you're going to be really struggling for rear grip. You're also going to have some one-stoppers bearing down on you over the last few laps as well, and they're not going to give much consideration to the state of your tyres as they try and overtake you. And throughout the race, you want to be trying to save your rear tyres using the brake balance. I had the brake balance set to -5. And if you're having trouble getting out the hairpin, try putting a bit of traction control on into the braking zone and see how that can help you. So my recommendation, take the safe option, go for the one stop. Good luck in your races, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.